Hey guys, it's Lauren, and I decided to do a discussion video today. And I would like to share my thoughts and insight about shifting to a raw food diet and not having some miraculous physical change, and or at least not an obvious one. And the idea that I think for some people, depending on where you're at when you start on the raw food diet, I think everyone's going to have a slightly and even dramatically different experience with it. But that we usually hear about all these people like curing themselves of cancer and losing all this weight, and like those are the stories that we hear about. But there are a lot of people that have done raw food, including myself, that haven't had some miraculous physical change, at least not one that's like losing 100 pounds or something like that, but that there's still something happening, and that there's still some significant things going on and shifting, even if they're subtle or even unnoticeable. And it's also, I was listening to, I don't remember who it was, it might have been a video of Truth Calkins or something, talking about Chinese herbs, and that some herbs, like tonic herbs that are taken daily, sometimes take up to 2 years to really be felt as far as their effects and benefits. And that I think there's a lot of things going on that we're so they're just so subtle that we have a hard time really noticing them. And so you may be juicing every day, or you may be doing all these things that are great for your body, and you might just be in the process of like healing your organs and like rejuvenating your cells, and there might be small, deep, subtle things happening that, just because they're not these dramatic experiences or dramatic changes in your life, doesn't mean that there's not something amazing happening. It doesn't mean that it's not working or that it's not good for your body or whatever. And so I just wanted to kind of put that out there, because I was discussing this with John, my boyfriend, the other day, and he was asking me like, what have I noticed? Like, have I had some huge shift since I've been on raw vegan foods for, going on 8 months? And I thought about it, and I really haven't had some huge noticeable shift. I would say the most noticeable thing that I have noticed is my immune system. Like, I don't seem to have any kind of issue with I haven't caught a cold. I haven't been subject to any kind of like contagious stuff. And I feel really balanced as far as my immune system goes. I feel like that's definitely being affected by my change in diet and juicing and all that. And the other thing is that once I shifted to the raw vegan diet, like that eliminated so many mental issues that I had around certain foods. Like for me, bread and granola, so grains and simple sugars and stuff like that, were really hard for me to stop eating. Like they're kind of addictive for me. And I think if I was to go off the raw vegan diet, that would still be true. So I don't want to say it's cured my addiction to those foods, or my, inability to stop eating them, or whatever it is, that compels me to continue eating them even though I'm not hungry. But it has taken that issue off the shelf for me, and I feel like I have gotten some healing around it. And just, it's empowering to know that just by setting an intention and saying, hey, I'm doing the raw food thing, and there's not even a question, like it doesn't even cross my mind about, hey, should I eat that bread during dinner before my salad, or should I, have that cereal because I'm not going to be able to stop eating it, or I'm not having to deal with that full weird like stomach feeling that I get when I eat grains, and I just keep eating and eating and eating, and I'm not really full, but then there's some sense of eating too much, and it's just like this really weird experience eating grains and breads and flours and stuff. And so I feel like just getting away from that world of like, I just don't need to be eating grains, at least not on a regular basis. And I've even made raw granola, and it was kind of addicting for me. It was really hard to stop. And so I've just decided, well, I'm not going to make it all the time. I'm just going to like do do it every now and then. Even though I really love it, I love it a little too much. And so but I find that by doing raw vegan diet, it allowed me to not even have to worry about those things. And it's some kind of mind frame that I'm in now that it's not an issue because it's not an option. And so for me, where I'm at right now, I feel good about that. And I do think it's a step in the right direction of actually healing the underlying issue. And anyway, so I feel good about that, and I feel like my digestive system has shifted. Like I went through this whole process of funky digestion and then good digestion and then funky digestion, and so I'm learning a lot of the subtle effects of raw food on my digestion, and so I feel like I've come to a place where that's really good. And so the other thing I would say hugely about the raw vegan diet is that for me it has taught me a lot about my body, and my cravings for food are more specific, and it's helping me tune in to like, okay, I'm craving chocolate and I'm craving nuts and I'm craving raisins. Maybe magnesium, so it's helping me evaluate and look at my body, and maybe I'm deficient in something, or maybe I'm trying to make up for something else, or maybe there's an imbalance, or it's just a lot more obvious to me now. So it's really helpful. It's given me a clearer perspective on what my body's asking for, what maybe emotionally I'm asking for. And so it doesn't let me get away with anything, it's so obvious. And the other thing is that I would say raw food is very effective in the sense of it is allowing me this total new palette, this new like blank canvas to paint on. It's opening me up creatively, and I would say intuitively, I've really gotten in touch with the alchemy or whatever of food combining and different aspects of just intuitive creating food wise. And I would say it's translating into my art too. I draw, and I draw fantasy type stuff, and I think it's totally affecting that. It's just sort of kind of translating into all these areas of my life. So my creativity is definitely busting open, and intuition is directly connected with that. And the other thing that I find is that I don't measure anything. Like I'm one of those people who kind of just like takes all these containers out of the cabinet and has all these foods on the counter and chops things and throws them in the blender, and all of a sudden it turns out food. And so I don't like measure things, and I kind of just eyeball it, or use my intuition or whatever you want to call it. And and so it's really fun in that way. But I find myself doing that when I make food for John, because I still like cook food for him. Like he likes cooked food and even meat or whatever, and that's fine. I'm still doing that. But because I'm making food for him that I'm not wanting to eat myself, I don't taste it. And sometimes, if he's not around to taste it while I'm making it, or in certain steps of the process, then no one tastes it. And I kind of just have to trust that it's going to turn out okay. But it's great because I end up making all this food and not tasting it, and just kind of doing the same thing, like being creative with it and not measuring anything, using my intuition, and, using what I know already about, garlic, onion, blah, 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 like the main ideas of how to create a certain kind of dish or sauce or whatever. But being able to create something intuitively and in the moment and on the spot without tasting it, and being able to like connect with it in that way, and having it actually turn out good. Like he's giving me all this good feedback, like, wow, this is so good, this is great, this is awesome, you nailed the sauce, you got it right, this is like the best whatever. And so it's really cool that I think that is also a direct sort of translation of whatever has allowed me to open up that creative space. And maybe it's the vibes from the good food, or just putting me in a position where I need to access deeper creativity, because I'm dealing with raw foods and it's a whole other world. And anyway, so I'll leave it at that. Those are just some things, some subtle things that are not like super obvious physical changes, that other people are, famously talking about, that might be happening and that might be going unnoticed and might not be getting sort of the appreciation those things deserve. And so, you might see that in yourself, or it might be something to look forward to. Okay, until next time, enjoy.